Starting out west, your 7:30 Eastern matchup on Prime. The Phoenix Suns, once again taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. These two teams faced off a little over a week ago. The Thunder eking out a 123-119 win over the Phoenix Suns in that one. And as I just kind of zoom out with these two, I have enjoyed watching both of them broadly. I have really enjoyed watching both of them defensively in particular. We've talked a lot about what the Thunder are doing to people. They have the best defensive rating in the NBA. They have one of the best defensive ratings relative to the league in league history, or at least as far back as stat databases go. A lot of versatility, a lot of activity, a lot of turnovers forced, etc. This Phoenix Suns team still brings a lot of pressure, very active group. And so looking at this matchup, my base question ahead again is which defense is going to set the tone first? Will the Thunder be able to bog down this Phoenix offense that may be without Devin Booker? Obviously going to shift a lot of on-ball responsibilities to your Royce O'Neals, your Colin Gillespie's, your Dillon Brooks, etc. Are they ready to deal with heightened defensive attention from this OKC group? And for Phoenix, are you able to put Shea in a box to any capacity? Do you cycle through looks against Shea? Is this a 2-on-the-ball game against him to test it out and hopefully force some turnovers? The thing that Phoenix also wants to get into to kind of juice their transition attack. So I just kind of start with defense with this matchup, Steve. Or what are you looking forward to with this one?
A whole lot. And I think defense is a fair thing to point to. These are the top two teams in points off turnovers. OKC's number one with 24.6. Phoenix is number two with 21.8. The one difference between them, right? The Thunder are second in opponent points off turnover, 14.9. Phoenix is 28th. And if you go back to when they played, Phoenix had 18 turnovers. OKC only had 10. And so is Phoenix defense, are they going to be able to put the Thunder in a scenario where they're a little sped up? And we have not seen that this season. The Thunder have been in control, and I think the one thing we saw in their last matchup was just how much they were able to keep pressure on the Suns. Like, it's not necessarily one thing. Shea is going to attack. He's going to get his one-on-one opportunities, but they're going to keep moving. They're going to play random. I think that's what kind of keeps the pressure on a really good Phoenix Suns defensive group as far as being able to guard random actions. And so it's not just defending the first action against OKC. It's the second, it's the third, it's the random flow, a Caruso flash, a Holmgren flash, a random pick and roll, drive and kick. So now are you set with your help outside of just pure pick and roll? So I imagine we'll get two on the ball at Shea. I imagine they'll mix things up. They'll throw some doubles at him. But outside of that, are you helping? Are you recovering? Are you giving up penetration? Can you continue to sustain defense against OKC because they keep pressure on you? The other thing for OKC's defense, and this is the tricky part for Phoenix, as you said, like Phoenix has empowered their guys from the beginning. So Devin Booker or no Devin Booker, we've seen the juice that the other guys have brought within Phoenix's spacing, within their system, with their movement. So we've seen the aggression from Dillon Brooks. We've seen the aggression from Colin Gillespie and Grayson Allen, and we've seen the quick decisions and playmaking from Royce O'Neal. The tricky part against the Oklahoma City Thunder is, boy, physical, active, hit you on drives, and they rotate. And these aren't necessarily, hey, can we get Oklahoma City in rotation? You will, but the window you have is very small. And these are rotations that they know and they want to make. So for Phoenix, the trick is going to be, can they generate enough offense? Can they sustain offense? They have the balance. They have the mindset. Even with, when Devin Booker was out there in the last game, hey, wherever he goes, there's going to be help shown. And so we're going to recover out to wherever. And so can they beat OKC? Can they put them in a tough spot?
Yeah, like I think to that end, that's where you kind of go back to what you mentioned at the top, like the Phoenix Suns being able to force turnovers. Like, very basic thing to say, but their easiest source of offense in this one may be if they're able to get OKC in quick shot zone or super quick decision zone. They're able to kind of play those passing lanes, force turnovers, get easy baskets in transition, give themselves a chance to kind of settle in and set that defense. And then from there, okay, now we can dictate terms. We can be physical off the ball. We can bring Mark Williams up to the level a little bit if we want to, or we may experiment with some cross matching. Let's put Mark Williams on Lou Dort and keep him near the basket. And then we can kind of jump things up that way, make OKC think a little bit. Something that you, go ahead.
No, go ahead, you're good.
Oh, okay. One of the things that you talked about when we discussed OKC, I want to say last week, I don't think there's going to be like a zone game for Phoenix, considering the comfort that we've seen from OKC's offense against that. But if they're able to set their half-court defense, like I do trust they have enough length, they have enough switchability, they get into cross matches, they have enough baseline physicality to at least bog OKC down a little bit. but it's going to be on them to be able to set that tone. I think beyond that, I'll circle back and ask you a question, because you said you think there'll be a little bit of 2 on the ball against Shea in this one. That's something that I was curious about. Like, how much of that do you think we will see?
Sprinkled in. Based on Jordan is going to try and mix coverages whenever possible. Phoenix is going to try to keep you off balance in different ways and be physical. I don't think you're going to get one thing that's thrown at him. And so it might be, Shea tries to put Colin Gillespie in action. Here's a double team. Or we're randomly doubling on your drives. Or we're going to put, high pick and roll. Mark Williams will be up, and then we'll get out. I don't necessarily think it's going to be full out, hey, we're just doing this. I could be wrong, but I think it'll be a mix.
Okay.
And I think that's the important part, because what OKC does so well is they just really it's going to be a back and forth game, because OKC is going to try and attack matchups. Phoenix is going to try and pre-switch. Can you be clean on those? Are you going to put 2 on the ball there? If you can get OKC to stop going from action to action, then you give yourself a chance. The problem is it's much, much easier said than done with the type of playmakers they have, especially Jalen Williams feeling more comfortable and in rhythm.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Williams, because that's where I want to go next. And I guess before I go there, I should say Shea did just miss the Utah game with a little bit of an elbow issue that may have just been
the money's on the line.
That is true. That is true. But I guess just for bookkeeping purposes, he did miss a game. Not a guarantee that he plays. I imagine that he will, but just want to have that on the wax just in case things do go left on that front. But to the Jalen Williams of it all, when they did face off against Phoenix, that was the season debut for him. I think 8 assists in that game. He was very clearly trying to settle in with some of the drives, but the playmaking popped immediately. He is continuing to settle in as he gets more game reps. How do you think Phoenix is going to look to take him away?
Are you talking about a specific coverage, or
more so? I think about some of the broader conversations we've had when it comes to OKC, Boston, other teams that have 2 stars, where it's okay, we know you're going to get yours. Maybe the key for us is making sure this number 2 guy just does not get going at all, and maybe that gives us more of a chance. Do you feel like a similar element there with OKC?
It's one of those things that's, again, easier said than done. I can sit here, put a cup of coffee down and say, yep, you know what, we're going to make it hard on Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. How are we specifically going to do that? Because we don't necessarily know when their attacks are going to come. It's not like there's specific deals where it's okay, this is the Jalen Williams portion, this is the Chet Holmgren portion. They get it within the flow of what they do. And so, especially with their defense, and they get stops, they get out in transition, Chet gets a drive early, Jalen Williams gets a drive early. They're in a different rhythm. So now, okay, they may initiate, they may come late in the clock. You just have to kind of be consistent with them. And I probably take the drives off the table against Jalen Williams. Obviously, he's got the skill set to be able to make tough shots, but let's take the drives off the table for him. For Chet, we just got to make everything tough. Got to be physical, push the catches out. Don't let him get easy shots. Don't let him get going in a rhythm. And we just try and poke at those 2 when we can.
I got you. It takes me back to, I guess, a classic Nekias bit on this podcast, where I wonder, how does Phoenix want to match up defensively against OKC? Because especially if Devin Booker is going to be out for this one. Again, we don't know that as of recording, but if he is out, that is going to be a lot more offensive responsibility for Dillon Brooks, who has certainly been up for that challenge. I am losing count of the various post middies and turnaround jumpers that he sprinkled in. That Minnesota game was a fun one in that regard. But with that, do you want to have Dillon take on the Shea challenge, assuming that he plays, while also saying, hey, we also may need you to get 20 here? Do you see any kind of shuffling on that regard? And even to your point about if they do want to try to take away Jalen Williams or take away Chet, one of the things that has bothered Chet in the past, and he's doing a much better job with this year, is let's put a wing on Chet. We can just turn those pick and rolls or pick and pops into switches. To your push to catch out point, it's easier for small defenders to kind of bother his base and push him out. I'm just kind of curious to see how Phoenix wants to navigate that portion. Because again, this has been a team that's been willing to cross match in fun ways this year, but OKC obviously provides a different challenge for folks.
Well, the tricky part is OKC has kind of just wiggled their way into Chet at the 5, which opens up another window for him. And if you go back to Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, I think there's a play first quarter of that Phoenix OKC game where Jalen Williams brings it up. They go pick and roll. That there's only the empty corner in the left side, and Mark Williams is just there, not even trapping, but he's just at the level, opens up a role for Chet. So now you have to see how much attention do we want to give to Chet? How much attention do we want to give Jen Williams? What does that open up for those two? That's the balancing act that you got to try and wiggle out and provide.
Makes sense. To zoom out. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say real quick, Yahoo's own Dan Devine had the Dillon Brooks usage without Devin Booker. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Dillon Brooks, I think about 130 minutes. His usage rate without Devin Booker is at 38.2%, which is just a tick below Michael Jordan's usage rate in the 1986-87 season. So shout out to Dan for that.
Shout out to Dan indeed. That certainly tracks when you watch these Suns games. Again, it just turns into give the ball to Dillon. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago, and even when we had Steven on the pod, we had the full-blown Suns episode, it has been a lot of, okay, the first 12 seconds of the possession, we didn't get what we wanted. Give the ball to Dillon Brooks, and he will create something inside the arc. And it has been a lot of mid-range jumpers. They've been important. That's a very high usage rate, though.
Now, guys, we've reached a point where we went from I don't ever want Dillon Brooks from my roster to, boy, not sure if Phoenix is going to be able to get a good shot if Dillon Brooks doesn't have the ball. Which should tell us a lesson about the game of basketball and life, probably.
Yeah, you may not want to be too extreme with your criticisms. Also, context for basketball players, context for people, those environments, they matter. And yeah, it's just serves this as a general opportunity to give a salute to Dillon Brooks for the year that he's having. Like, he is still defending his tail off in addition to all the offensive responsibility that he's taken on. Last quick thought I had on this game specifically. Circling back to you talking about OKC's defense and the way that they rotate kind of with intention, and they're able to navigate that well. I do wonder if we reach a point, especially if Booker doesn't play, if OKC is just like, actually, we're just going to switch everything. Let's just beat us. Win with drives, win with these jumpers. Let's see what you can do as a self-creation unit. We don't even want to give you the rotation bit. We don't want to open up anything if we don't have to. I do wonder how much of that we see. But I did want to zoom out a bit on Phoenix before we move forward. As of recording, the Phoenix Suns still very firmly in the playoff picture. They are 14-10, percolating the glass, flirting with top 10 in offense and defense still. The sample continues to grow. And as I circle back to the guest episode that we had with Steven, you smartly noted, hey, the schedule is about to get hazy for the Suns. We're about to see how real this is. They haven't completely gotten through the gauntlet yet. But do you feel more confident in Phoenix actually just being a playoff / high play-in team now?
I mean, I think their compete level, the mindset they have defensively and what they've done offensively is always going to give them a shot. Mm-hmm. So I believe in their base. The question is going to become, can they elevate it and kind of figure out how to beat some of these other teams? It feels like they're in between zones because you lost to OKC, lost to Denver, lost to Houston. Okay, not quite there. Mm-hmm. But we can get Minnesota, or we can get San Antonio, we can get the Lakers. So they're kind of hovering in between. I think, honestly, what happens in the Cup will be interesting. And then the games they have against Golden State later this month will be interesting to see, okay, is Golden State also in that category of teams that we can go out there and get? But I think they play too hard. They play too smart. They're too connected on both ends for me to say there's going to be a massive dip. It's just going to be, okay, can that compete level be elevated? They kind of remind me in a sense of Houston last year to a degree. Mm-hmm. I think they have more firepower offensively and they're better on that end of the floor. But it's like, okay, I believe in what this is. How much of this can be displayed at all times?
Okay, I think that's fair. Like, to your point, like, this defense, as I said at the top, it's been a joy to watch all year long, and it almost hasn't mattered who they've had out there. Everyone's kind of been willing to take on the challenge. Like, they pressure you early, and again, they can toggle through different looks. Shout out to our guy Steven, who recently asked Jordan Ott about the recent uptick in pill switching that Phoenix is tapping into now. So that's another thing that I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on, as OKC, as you know, Steve, loves to drive the basketball. Not driving as often as we've seen in years prior, but still very much a high volume driving group. And so keep an eye on that. The offense is where it gets funny for me, especially when they see a higher volume of switches. Because like non-Devin Booker division, it's been a lot of surprising wins for me. Brought a lot of joy, but as we get later into the season, you get more tape, et cetera. And as we get into, okay, Phoenix may actually make the playoffs now. Like, what does that look like as teams continue to adjust and throw different looks? So, but I think they're here. Like, this has been a fun start. Like, Jordan Ott deserves to be in the Coach of the Year discussion. We talked about that a little bit with the free throw on the last episode of the pod. It's not going to hang there too long, but it's been a good group, and I'm excited about this one. Are you ready to talk Spurs Lakers, Steve?
Kind of. I don't know who's playing.
Well, that is going to be question one. Victor Wembanyama, I believe, traveled with San Antonio or will travel with San Antonio, assuming they're already there. Not sure if he's going to play yet. Stephon Castle is back. Dylan Harper recently back. For the Lakers, LeBron James is there. Austin Reeves is there. We will see with Luka Doncic. But if we get the big three there, that's going to be plenty of star power either way. And so hopefully we just get a firm answer as to who is actually going to show up, either later today or early tomorrow. Beyond that, though, Steve, the non-Wemby Spurs, we just had a segment on them, I think, last week. Mm-hmm. But since Wemby's been out, the offense has still been very good. There is a foundational level of we are getting into some kind of off-ball action before we flow into a primary on-ball action. They drive the basketball a lot. And this is something that I felt, and you certainly see that Pelicans game was surprisingly fun, especially towards the end. Shout out Dylan Harper slamming the door. But
wow.
Well, no,
take out New Orleans, why don't you continue?
Just a bit from my dear pal Jeremy. But no, in all seriousness, a very fun ending of that game in particular. But actually looking at, it's felt like a lot of drives for San Antonio during the stretch. We talked about that a little bit during this segment. Actually looking up the numbers was a funny one for me last night as I was prepping for this pod. So Steve, since Victor Wembanyama's been out, since mid-November, the Spurs are 7th in drives per 100 possessions. So about 56 per 100. They were averaging 43.7 per 100 before Wemby went down. And filtering specifically for Wemby being on the floor for San Antonio, that number was down to 38.9, which would rank 29th league-wide. And it makes sense, considering Victor Wembanyama is very good at basketball. We had plenty of discussions about the way that the Spurs were using him, some of the mid-post touches for him, teams doubling those touches, and how San Antonio played out of those. So, like, it makes sense, and obviously the team was still very good when Wemby's on the floor. But that's more so to signify just how drastically this offense has shifted since Wemby's been out, largely out of necessity, because that is just figuratively and literally a big part of your offense missing. But De'Aaron Fox can get downhill whenever he wants to. Stephon Castle is back, and the drives that he put on, was that Carlo that he put the spin move on, I want to say, in the second quarter, and he immediately had me yelling in a way that I shouldn't be. Insane finish there, but he can get downhill whenever he wants to. Dylan Harper is already an advanced driver. And so my baseline question, as we talk, think about this Laker defense that still wants to switch quite a bit. They still want to show the shell defensively and show a lot of help. They did a really good job of defending San Antonio in their first matchup. And a lot of that was, we'll sprinkle in a smaller defender on Wemby and we'll show help, and we'll sprinkle in some random doubles. Other times, DeAndre Ayton, you got to do your best job. With Wemby out of the equation and now opening up to more of this drive-heavy, off-ball-centric system for San Antonio, how equipped is this Laker defense to deal with that? Like, I think it's going to be a really interesting clashing of styles with the Spurs offense and the Lakers defense.
Well, here's the thing. The Lakers, thank goodness for them, just played the Philadelphia 76ers and had to deal with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and the sort of players trying to get downhill at all times. So we talk about the Lakers, it's still going to be a mix of switching. The question now becomes, how much help do they want to show? Because it's not just the switch. It's, okay, we're going to show our bodies early. We're going to try and take away the driving lane. So if you get a switch on the wing, okay, there might be a body coming over towards the baseline outside of the paint. We've seen LeBron James off-ball stunt, move his head, move his legs, try and say, hey, you're not getting the driving lane. And so the contrast now, to your point, it's a good credit. The Spurs are a little bit different. They've got 3 guards who are going to get downhill and are playing at a high level. Lakers have dealt with these kind of teams before, so we'll see if it simplifies things for them as far as, okay, we switch, we stay in front, we show help. The key for them is going to be being able to keep the ball in front. And so I think the first effort for the Lakers defense is usually pretty positive. Especially even DeAndre Ayton will get into the switches. But now, okay, can you keep the ball in front? Is that going to force a rotation? How much movement does that open up for the Spurs as far as being able to get the drive and kick? Can you mix in the on and off ball switches? Like, I think that's probably something, as you mentioned, San Antonio, it's not just, hey, we're getting downhill. We're going to have movement before. So how clean can we be on those switches? Can we keep the ball in front? So it's just sustaining defense for the Lakers. It's not anything new. It may help them lean into something they've simplified and done before, but it will present a challenge. Now, on the flip side, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, though I haven't guarded anybody. This will be interesting to see how the Lakers are able to poke at some of the size elements, because we've seen what the Lakers have tried to do as far as just using Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Luka in actions together, whether it's at the elbow, try and get a screen, whether it's ram screen, you get a pin down, try and get a switch on LeBron, so now he can screen for Luka. It's tough because the LeBron-Luka pick and roll is generally 9 times out of 10 going to be a switch for most teams. Doesn't mean it's advantageous, but you're not necessarily opening things up. Can you kind of poke at them and get a pre-switch off ball? Now we bring them together. Now we got 2 on the ball, or maybe a matchup we want, and we could play out of it that way. So how are they going to be able to contain that? And can the San Antonio defense work there? Now, it would be way fun if Victor Wembanyama was able to play. But obviously his health is more important. And that gets interesting because, okay, Lakers are going to show help on him, put wings on him. Luka's going to put him in pick and roll. Wemby's going to do all sorts of stuff. So fun matchup either way.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting clash of styles. And I think, too, the Lakers offense spurs defense of it all. I think naturally this is where you would miss a Victor Wembanyama, because the Lakers have the ability to kind of put anyone in action. And if you send doubles at all, like they've just been so good at generating good looks and made baskets. Like there's only so much one-on-one coverage you could play with a guy like Luka, or even this stage of LeBron James. And now you add Austin Reeves to the mix and the growth that he's displayed as a driver, as a scorer inside the arc in general, as a playmaker off of this stuff. Like it's just kind of tough. So I do wonder how aggressive or how creative the Spurs want to be. And even that kind of sparks the thought on the other end. Something that we talked a little bit about earlier this season. The Lakers have their base defensively. They've sprinkled in a little bit more zone than we saw last year, pretty much already. If we do get into a situation where the Spurs are having early success with some of these drives, De'Aaron Fox is getting downhill, Stephon Castle's getting downhill, Dylan Harper's having fun when he checks in, do we see the Lakers press the zone button in this one and say, actually, no, you are getting right back in that box that we saw with some of the Wemby games early on. Let's just disrupt your rhythm and let's see what you want to do about it. And I wonder, in a way, are the Spurs more, I don't want to say more equipped to deal with it, because like that seems disrespectful to Wemby. But like I do wonder, because you would need more movement, you would need more guys that could punch your gaps, and they have those smaller guys in there. Would it be a little bit easier for them to counter that if the Lakers sprinkle that in?
I don't know, man. Having the almost 8-foot tall person might help against his own.
Yeah, Just put him at the free throw line. Just toss it literally anywhere in the vicinity. I think that'd be fine. But no, like I do think related to that, it's going to put more of a spotlight on the 3-point shooting of San Antonio, where they've been pretty solid so far this year, but certainly sub-elite. So if the Lakers do want to sprinkle in those looks, like those shots are going to be available for San Antonio. And at that point, hey, let's get you out of this. You actually have to guard up, deal with these drives, deal with these pick and rolls, etc. So excited to see what that portion is going to look like. Can I sprinkle in a quick number, Steve, that tripped me out?
Absolutely.
As I was prepping for the Lakers stuff. So naturally, the big three of the Lakers is the story. Luka's excellent, Austin Reeves excellent, LeBron James excellent, one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time. We know this. So I decided, hey, we haven't had the largest sample of these three together, just because LeBron missed the beginning of the season. Like they've just a lot of different absences. Also, congrats to Luka and his partner, introducing a new child to the world recently. So looking at the on-off stuff for these three, we want to be kind. That's all. 108 minutes.
I just didn't expect that sequence of events.
Hey, that's fair. I'm still trying to get the brain churning. You know, we pushing through this headache, etc. But no, 108 minutes together for Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. A minus 7.2 net rating in 108 minutes so far. Now again, smallish sample. The offensive rating being around 114 is what kind of surprises me, but I think that's going to perk up. Like, again, you think about the quality of looks that those three can generate. I think that is just going to be fine, so I'm not super worried there. But it is interesting they've lost those minutes so far. Literally any combination of two of those guys on the floor, Luka plus LeBron, Luka plus Reeves, Reeves plus LeBron, however you want to slice it, they have blitz teams when it is two, hybrid unit, etc. In any of the combinations where it's just one of those three on the floor, they have lost those minutes. It is just a very funny dichotomy for me right now.
So you're saying two is the magic number? 2
appears to be the magic number, at least so far. And again, we are early December. All three have missed some time so far this year. I think that is going to be fine moving forward. But it is kind of funny to look at right now. So that got me. Beyond that, I do wonder about the DeAndre Ayton of it all in this matchup. what the Lakers are going to ask him to do, more so defensively in this one, because I would imagine if it's going to be heavy ball screens for San Antonio, he's going to be involved. How often do they want to switch Ayton as part of this package? Whether it's just general late switch stuff, or if the Lakers actually just want to flatten everything out and force the Spurs to beat them. I think they are equipped to do so because of the drivers that they have, but I do want to see what like the scheme blend for DeAndre Ayton is going to be in this matchup.
Well, I mean, I think he's done his job this year. I mean, the very funny post-game interview after the Philadelphia game where JJ Redick was very complimentary of DeAndre Ayton. He was like, I didn't think I did that great. I don't know what I did, but cool. But I think he's done his job. When he's asked to switch or to keep the ball in front, or he's asked to kind of be in a drop or beat a late switch, he's done that. And it appears he's really enjoyed the moments where, I can actually roam and help and fly around. So I think within what the Lakers should do as far as switching goes, keep the ball in front. If he's off ball, make sure he shows his help early and does his job. But I think he's passed the test so far over and over again for the Lakers. I think it helps that, okay, there's just not going to be that much two on the ball. So this is what you're doing, X, Y, Z. You just got to nail it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think just kind of looking at some of the mini battles within this one that's going to perk up. The Lakers have been a team that has turned the ball over quite a little bit. The Spurs are good at forcing turnovers, so maybe that breeds some of the aggression that we may see from San Antonio's defense. Can we sprinkle in some two on the ball? It's dangerous, but forcing turnovers, get some easy ones. Let's make the Lakers score against a set defense after that. So we'll see what that part looks like. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. See, I'm misreading the face. I thought you had to jump in with something. But no, I'm curious to see like what that battle's going to look like, because I think as good as Luka and Austin Reeves have been in particular, like they can get kind of turnover heavy. Luka in particular will force some passes that only he can see, but that could get dangerous against the San Antonio defense. Or at least some of the active off-ball guys that they have with this defense. Again, defense has been much stronger with Wemby available than without, but they can get into that element as well. So that's going to be a mini battle I'm looking at. Within that one, the possession battle is going to be important. Not a heavy offensive rebounding team. The Los Angeles Lakers aren't. The Spurs can get after it a little bit, so we'll see what that part looks like. I think the big battle in particular is going to be an interesting one. Brought up Ayton. Luke Cornett, I would imagine, is going to have his hand full dealing with these guys. So I am excited.
I'm excited as well. And speaking of hands full, our hands are full. We're going to go ahead and take a break, but we'll be back with more Dunker Spot action.
There we go.
The smartest NBA coverage on YouTube 5 days a week. Watch the Dunker Spot featuring Nekias, Duncan, and myself delivering elite X's and O's and film breakdowns like you won't see anywhere else. Kevin O'Connor going to give you the deep analysis and some of the best hoops conversations you'll see anywhere. Every week, Tom Haberstroh and Dan Devine breaking down all the stats that define the league on the big number, plus fast daily NBA updates and trends from Dan Titus to keep you ahead of the timeline. If you love basketball, welcome home.
And we are back with this episode of the Dunker Spot. And Steve, it is time to post up. It's time to talk about some teams that are making us think a little bit. Good, bad, and different. We're intrigued by what's happening. Who would you like to start with?
I would like to start with the Orlando Magic, guys. Okay. I've been thinking about the Orlando Magic for a little bit here. I've been trying to figure out not exactly what they are, but what this means, what they've tried to do, how they've tried to improve. What does it mean overall? What does it mean in the regular season? What does it mean in the playoffs? I'm trying to just piece it together, right? Okay. Because when you think of Orlando Magic, we're thinking tough, physical, defense. Oh no, what's going on offensively? Dang, they lost in the playoffs. And Orlando was like, actually, we're going to fix most of that. Offense is going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with it. And, they've kind of been, if you look at the Eastern Conference standings, the beauty of the Eastern Conference has been, hey, all these teams that you were looking at all think they can beat each other, which got my mind thinking towards the playoffs where, okay, who can elevate what they do in the playoffs? Orlando's got size. They got length. They got a better offensive foundation. Could they be the team that kind of pieces things together? As of recording, they've won 7 of their last 10 games, guys. They won 10 of their last 14 games. They are 8th in net rating this year, Nekias. They were 17th last year. 11th in offensive rating this year, according to NBA.com. 5th in defensive rating. Last year, they were 27th in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating. So we've achieved a little bit more of the balancing act that we're looking for here. The question is, do you feel like they're a top 5 defense when you watch them? Do you feel like they're a top 10-ish offense when you watch them? They're 12th in pace, according to NBA.com. They were 30th last year. But they score more. Pure buckets, they're putting up 117.8 points a night, which is 12th in the NBA. Last year, they were at 105. They've scored 120 or more points 12 times this year already. That's 2 more than all of last season. And the franchise record is 19, and that was set in 1994-95.
Oh.
So maybe they brought the jerseys back the right year. But I'm trying to piece together how much of this offensive improvement is sustainable and what exactly has made it elevate. Because they're doing this while getting up around the same amount of field goal attempts. 88 this year, 85 last year. Last year, Nekias, the Orlando Magic were 30th in the NBA in three-pointers made per game with 11.2. This year, the Orlando Magic are 27th in the NBA in three-pointers made per game with, you guessed it, 11.2.
That's fine.
And they're actually taking less threes. What's the difference? Free throws. Lead the league in the most free throws made. Take the most. Second chance points. They're tied with Boston for third in the NBA. 17.5. They were 17th last year. They're second in fast break points, Nekias. The Orlando Magic are second in fast break points. 18.5 last year. They were 25th. And they're fifth in points in the paint. 54.2. Last year, they were 24 with 45.8. So this is a team that is going to go. They're going to push. If you watch the Orlando Magic, they are go, 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 flow, flow, flow. And it's not just off misses. It's off made baskets. Ball goes through the net, quick throw ahead, balls up quick, might get a second one, attack, and let's go. There are times where you watch them, some games, not all. This is going to sound counterintuitive. There are times where you feel better about Orlando's attack off a made basket than when they get a stop. Because it feels like sometimes when they get a stop, it's like, oh, well, let's go. And it's like, I don't know if you got to take that specific quick pull up. So it's interesting. The defense hasn't felt as heavy as last year. But last year, you watched Orlando, you saw activity, you saw length, you saw stops. How much of that is just we're playing faster, so y'all have more opportunities, and y'all can also play faster? What piece is going off there? I mean, they score off opponents' turnovers. They don't let you get second chance points. They're second in opponents' second chance points. They're right behind the Thunder. So when they do get a stop, they finish it. And the difference is last year they were third in opponents' points in the paint. They're 18th this year. So how do you kind of piece this together? The recipe is there for the Orlando Magic, guys. The question is, are we going to see the meal?
Okay. I like that. Okay, I guess first I want to circle back to the offense.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you brought up the fast break points and just the general pace in general. Because as you know, Steve, on this very podcast, the thing that annoyed me the most about the Orlando Magic is that they very rarely push the basketball. After misses, let's make sure that we get into something, which made some sense. Didn't have like traditional point guard, etc. We want to make sure that we get the ball to Franz. We want to make sure we get the ball to Paolo. We want to keep the possession count low in general to lean more on that defense. We want to pound you inside, etc. Made sense logically, still bugged me because it felt like there was just low-hanging fruit for them to grab if they would just push after misses and push a little bit after makes. And so as you bring that up, the first thing that came to my mind is like, hey man, I have really enjoyed the Franz Wagner early seals. You put a like-sized wing on him, and he is still liable to just put that guy underneath the basket for an early touch, draw a foul. To your point about the free throw rate, they were a high free throw rate team last year. I think they were top 3, and so them maintaining that this year, part of their ethos. But like now that you can get to some of that stuff earlier, and get some free ones, get some easy ones, get some early ones, that helps through the flow of the game. So I like that portion of it. Like Franz will get into it, obviously Paolo will get into it. Welcome back, Paolo, by the way. And I think, as I think about this, their matchup with the Miami Heat coming later today, I wonder what the ramp up is going to be like since Franz is out, since Paolo's come back. It's mostly been like 3 or 4 minute stints for Paolo. Let you go, but we want to keep the minute count low right now. You're just coming back. Interesting to me that like his average seconds per touch and stuff like that, 2 of the lowest games of the season for him are the 2 games that have come back. And I wonder how much of that is I just got back, I don't want to mess up, versus any kind of legitimate shift in the process for him as he slots into what Orlando's doing offensively. Because I do think, actually, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, let's hang there for a second. because I think this is where it kind of gets interesting and ties into the overall, what am I thinking with Orlando? Because, we established they want to do more things offensively. Early, they're trying to not only, figure out how to do this faster, but also integrate Desmond Bane in it. Paolo's out. Now you get Desmond Bane going. You get Jalen Suggs going. You get Anthony Black going. You have Franz going. Now Franz is out, and now Paolo's back. And so I think for me, it overall comes down to, not just for Paolo, but the Magic in general, quick decisions and quick reads are the key for them. That's going to be their best possession. So even if we're talking Miami, they played recently, they tried to get some switches in there to slow them down. New York tried to mix them in. They've got to just get off the ball. Make a quick decision, make a read, force some help, get it to the next person, get downhill, get defenses reacting and play out of it. That's when Orlando's at their best offensively in the half court. Obviously, in transition, they've improved. But in the half court, they got to do that. When they get slow, when it's pass, hold, when it's drive, kick, hold, it gets tricky. So, can they just sustain that tempo? And even when Paolo's come back, what I've liked in his return, even when he gets one of those post-ups, because he's going to draw attention. I think that's something we have to acknowledge. He's going to be someone who's going to be able to attack matchups. When he gets a post-up, when he goes quick, it's a good thing. I think you've seen since his return, him sitting and watching what Orlando has done, the success they've had. Okay, you can see the times where he kind of wants to do the Paolo catch, jab, let's go to work. And he gets there sometimes, but a little quicker. It's like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Dribble. Let's see what I can do. So can he just kind of continue up keep up the quick decisions?
Yeah, I wish I got to find the exact timestamp for it, but there was a possession in that Miami game that I audibly laughed at as I was watching it back, because it was one of those balls on the left. Ball finds Paolo, and he's doing exactly what you said. Oh, let me go. Actually, I don't have it. Let me get off of it. Another drive, it goes back to Paolo. Ooh, let's go. Oh, I can't do it. Let me get off of it again. And the possession just didn't end in anything because there wasn't really a puncturing. But it was just you know what? Even in that small moment, you can see Paolo let me get off of this a little bit quicker. Let me not do that. And so I think, and we've discussed this before, I think that is a legitimate criticism that you could have for Paolo's game, as good as he is. He can bend a game to his will on the high end, but some of the catch and hold stuff does hurt the flow of the offense. And so if Paolo, even with Franz out, if he is just going to be a quicker decision maker with what he already does, with the drives, he is a big part of the free throw winning for Orlando, because people just cannot keep him out of the paint. And thus they can't keep him off the line either. I've talked about just the pure power that he has with the drives, but he always keeps the ball high. He takes so many body blows on his gathers, and he's still able to get these and one opportunities because of how well he deals with that. If it's just Paolo works quicker. Another thing that I tracked, make sure I looked it up to make sure I had the number for it. In terms of the actual total, it wasn't a season high in terms of on-ball screens set by Paolo, but that's largely because of the minute count. He's playing 20 minutes, 24 minutes in his 2 games since he's been back. On a per possession basis, those were the 2 highest frequency screening games that Paolo's had all year. And so, as this ramps up, if we get into some of these, push and slips for Paolo, gets the ball with the head of steam, unlock a little bit more of that short roll version, he has the skill set to make teams pay. We've already seen flashes of it throughout his career, so it's not even an entirely new thing. The thing with Paolo is mostly just take what you do, compact a little bit. We know you can overpower smaller wings and smaller guards on the post. Don't hold the ball for 3 seconds to invite a double team. That's not always a bad thing, to be clear. But just in terms of the overall flow, nah, go. Force help on the move. Now, more of the cutting that Orlando has sprinkled in this year, and you've really seen that in the non-Paolo stretch where they went 7-3. Okay, this pops with you because of how quickly you're attacking. And you can see the floor. So, it's there, to your point.
No, yeah, and I think one of the things is this is where Jalen Suggs playing at this level helps. This is where Desmond Bane playing at this level helps, because now Paolo doesn't have to initiate as much. He doesn't have to bring it up as much. They can go quicker, get a wide pin down for Desmond or a high screen for Suggs, and one of them can drive and attack. The tricky part with balancing how you feel about Paolo in the half court is the ball is likely going to find him if he's on the perimeter. So if they start an action, they get to a second one, and he's rolled up to the wing, his man's going to beat the nail. So it's going to be a kick, or it's going to be a kick to him in the corner. And so you kind of feel it a little bit more because the ball doesn't end up finding him. But I think, he drives some close out, he mixes some cuts. They have the post ups and him as a screener. It all worked together. But that guard play, I think, has been so important for Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Bane, Black, Suggs, get downhill, cause some chaos, make some shots, easy ones, draw and kick. You add their bigs that know their job. I still think there's some meat on the bone for Wendell Carter Jr. on the short roll that I would like for them to achieve. I think he can hit some elbow jumpers and kind of make some chaos that way, but they know what they're supposed to do. It's just, can they just do it consistently and avoid being plotting in the half court?
I think that's fair. I'll just sprinkle in quickly, as you mentioned, the guard room. Can we just see more Jace Richardson? I would just personally like to see more. More Jace.
He might. Glimpses. Hey, glimpses, I'm telling you. I think it's just young player consistency. We have a thing we need to do, and all our other guards are playing really well, and they should play a lot of minutes. So, sorry, man. One thing I want to say, can the defense get to a certain level? That's when we see the true impact of what Orlando has done in the half court. They have, when you watch them, they have the bones, the teeth, the sketch, the recipe of a good defensive team, just eye test wise. They got size, they got length, they got activity, they show help on drives, they have nuance on when to switch, when to slide under. But then they also have really odd breakdowns where they give up a drive and now they help in a different way. They're late on rotations and maybe they don't match up in transition. And I wonder how much of that is just, a different mindset, or just there's more bites at the apple for teams at times.
Mm-hmm. I think it's more of the latter from my watching. I think it circles back to what you mentioned a little bit earlier. I think the overall pace it's just led to more of an adjustment period for Orlando's defense, I think. Because I think you took like last year's team, like you still had that same element of size and physicality and all that good stuff. But because the possession count was so low and because they played so slow, it was easier to kind of set that and establish that. When you're pushing off a team makes a shot, now you're pushing off that make, and then you score, and then they're trying to push and get back. Like, you don't get the same kind of, you don't get the set up the same way. So I think it's been a lot of that. But to your, as you mentioned the stats a little bit earlier, like the fact that they have quietly worked, we weren't too far away from when Orlando was like 17th in defense. Like the fact that they have worked themselves back into the top 10. Like, I think that kind of signifies like what they already have in the pantry, if we're building off of the examples that you mentioned. And so, hey, man, if they continue to make these quicker decisions in the half court offensively, if the threes fall, at least from their important pieces, Paolo integrates, this is a really good basketball team on both ends. And like, these are kind of the seeds that you were expecting to see, at least for me, as someone that was super high on Orlando heading into the year. This is kind of what I want to see. Like a team that could be elite defensively, we have more offensive firepower. And so now we have more flow. And then if all else fails, Franz can get downhill, Paolo can get downhill. We kind of slow things up, picking matchups, etc. So it's been cool to kind of see them build this out. And it stinks that as we're starting to get a little taste of, all right, Paolo's back, let's see how they integrate. Now Franz is down for however long. So like that.
Hey, look, man, I'm just happy it is what they listed it as, with ankle sprain, because when I saw it, it did not look good at all. And it's a sad thing because you have to just cross your fingers that an injury is just less than what you think it is, but I'll take it every day of the week. Best up to him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So the guys, who do you want to talk about?
Well, very quickly, Steve, we'd like to talk about the Toronto Raptors.
Shocker.
Well, here's the thing. So heading into their own cup matchup against the New York Knicks later tonight, they've lost 3 in a row. They are 3-5 since RJ Barrett went down. And during that stretch, per cleaning the glass, 28th in offense, 13th in defense, which is fine, but below their level that they've been at for most of the regular season, 24th in net rating. I am not here to argue that like RJ is one of the most important players in the NBA and he's like tanked their season since he's been out. Like, that's way too dramatic. But I will say they certainly miss him, particularly offensively. I think you feel that in terms of the overall on-ball / paint pressure juice that this Raptors group has, particularly in the half court. Without RJ puncturing defenses, either coming off of screens and curling around or just the early attacks and transition. Without that, it feels more rigid in the half court. And considering the way that Toronto wants to set up the Brandon Ingram touches, which, again, inherently not a bad thing at all. Like, we've talked about the exit screens with him. He comes off of traditional staggers. Like, they do creative things. So, like, I'm not saying that is bad. But when you don't have that extra paint juice on top of that, if teams are physical with Brandon Ingram ahead of time, or they mix in switching, or it's a mixture of both, it takes some time for Toronto to get into the offense and to get to those Brandon Ingram touches. And then it is now time for Brandon Ingram to attack. And because now RJ Barrett is not there, who, you know, he wasn't being defended like Steph on the perimeter, but like there's still a level of attention that he got. You replace that with Jacoby Walter, teams are like, all right, well, cool. We're all right showing early help and forcing him to shoot if necessary. The driving lanes are a little bit more crowded for Brandon Ingram. With some of the mid-post touches for VI, to where he has made good reads out of double teams, particularly early in the year. If it is single coverage, he can just shoot over the top or draw fouls because you really can't contest them. We're seeing more double teams for Brandon Ingram. And I think the context has gotten tougher for him. That's number one. But within that, I don't think he's done a great job of processing the floor all the time. I think as we are coming off of the...
we're so back.
We're not back. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, it's fitting coming off of the Paolo conversation that we just had. Like, we've seen him make quick decisions and do the good thing. We also seen catch a hold from him. I think as Brandon Ingram has dealt with more help and more doubles, I don't think he has always processed that as quickly as he needs to. So, like, I think the context is the bigger issue, but within that, he can operate better within that. And so that's where I'm just kind of like, I would like to see more done for him. Like, let's just get into stuff earlier. Can we, instead of setting up 2 or 3 different screening actions to get him a ball, can we just get to 2? Like, I will say the one thing that does annoy me, and I'll pass the route to you. Like, watching some of the Iverson stuff with Toronto as of late, it's like, hey, you can't jog into this. Like, it shouldn't take 7 seconds to get into Iverson. Catch for Brandon Ingram, then he's got to wait for somebody else to screen for him. So I was like, hey, we can run some of this with more juice. Like, again, that's not even a Brandon thing specifically. That's just like, hey, the concepts are good, but now that you're working with some restraints because of injuries, like, it puts more emphasis on we have to run our actions with energy.
Cut harder, become an unk. I see it.
Oh, brother.
Well, I mean, I think for me, it's one of those perfect storms. I think the defense took a hit. I think they haven't been as quick into their actions as they were earlier. I think almost leaning a little too much into the Brandon Ingram portion because of how he played and how defense reacted. You can kind of lean into, okay, we're going to get this look so we can play out of it. I think it's got to be a team effort. They got to collaborate, but they got to get into their stuff a lot earlier. I think what you've seen of late, I mean, you lose to the Hornets twice in the span of what they did. That's not ideal. But you've seen teams say, okay, we're going to be physical when you try and do your off-ball movements, whether it's a pin down, Iverson, whatever it is. We're going to get into your body, try and bog you down that way. So we're going to switch as well to try and keep things in front. So we're just going to try and take what you did well off the board. And that's on Toronto to respond. I think that's kind of the beauty of the Eastern Conference as a whole. Yeah, we found out these teams are more fun than possible. You know who else did? Everybody else. So we're gonna make this as hard as we can on you. So okay, can you adjust to, you know, deeper possessions in the clock, to players grabbing your jerseys, to more attention? Success always takes the shot back at you in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's fair. So heading into this matchup with the Knicks, again, not too far removed from playing New York. Just talked about some of the switches that New York was willing to throw at Orlando. I would imagine you're going to see plenty of off-ball physicality and plenty of switching from this New York defense against Toronto. They're going to have to deal with that. If Brandon Ingram sees 2, Brandon's going to have to get off of that quicker than he has been these last few games. But on top of that, basic as it sounds, if Brandon draws 2 and makes the right read, shots do just kind of have to fall for some of the role players. Like, that would be helpful. You know what I mean? To help grease the wheels of some of these possessions. We can maybe take some of these doubles off the table if we are knocking down shots as well. So that's where I'm just like, ooh, I still think they're good. Like, even with this stretch, you zoom out, they're still 15-10, percolating the glass, 11th in offense, 7th in defense, 9th in net rating. So they're also flirting with top 10 in both. So sky isn't falling, but it's been wonky. And I think it's fair to say it's been wonky. And against this Knicks defense that's perking up, this Knicks team in general that's been perking up, just talked about them last week. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like.
Yes, let's see what it looks like. But speaking of perking up, guys, I want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. You mean the
very quickly
half game out of 10th Dallas Mavericks?
Yes, the resurgent Dallas Mavericks, who won 4 of their last 5 games, and that one loss is at Oklahoma City, which, but they beat the Clippers on the road, they beat Denver on the road, they beat Miami at home, they beat Houston at home. And you can point to people being out, but hey, they were 5-15, they won 4 games, and that's a positive step for them. The last 10 games, 13th in offensive rating, 16th in defensive rating, according to NBA.com, and that feels a little bit more realistic than the 29th in offensive rating, 7th in defensive rating that we've seen. One, for all the Dallas fans out there, I'll go with what the kids call it, TLDR. Is that what they be saying? From their perspective, yeah, man, all that stuff we said wasn't going to work, did not work. Understood. Sometimes in this game, you have to know what you are before you can get to what you want to be. And Dallas had a lot of ideas. You know, I think the Cooper Flag point guard thing just took a tumbleweed life of its own. But they wanted to be tall, and they wanted to move him around the board offensively and have him initiate. We want to have more movement, more flow, and we have double bigs and Clay starting. And teams didn't cooperate. It didn't look great, and no one was happy. And now things in reverse court. Number one, Cooper Flag is playing some basketball. Guys. He is increased comfort, the increased confidence. He's 4th in the NBA in total clutch points. 52 points, 16 of 27 from the field during those moments. In the month of November, Nekias, 218 field goal attempts, right? 26.1% of those were in the restricted area. And he shot 75.4%. And 33.5 of those field goal attempts were in the paint non-restricted area. He shot 49.3. 50.9 of his shots in November came from 9 feet or lower on the floor. And it's a small sample size in December, but 29 of his 58 field goal attempts are from 9 feet and in. And he's 8 of 15 from mid-range in December. So what you're seeing is this guy just starting to put things together in a way we hadn't seen. He is driving, putting his head down. And it's not just that he's driving. He's looking to get to his spots. And it's one thing to see a player have quicker decisions, but to see him read space and understand what he has to do. But he's looking to get to where he wants to go now. More patience, more confidence, increased comfort. And he's playing with counters, right? He's playing more, he's thinking less. He's countering how defenses want to guard him. It's not the first attack. It's the second attack. Second attack. Defense cuts off the drive, hit, spin, try and finish over you, hesitate and go, crossover, drop. I'm coming down the lane. I'm hitting somebody. Just those improvements get you to a point where moving him around the board offensively makes a lot more sense. Now a wide pin down has a little bit more strength. You don't know if he's going to curl or if he's going to read it and take a shot. You put a post up, use him as a screener. We've reversed engineered the Cooper Flag that we thought we were going to get, which is interesting. Ryan Nembhard.
Yes. Welcome.
Balling. He's been great for this team. All you real point guard truthers, go ahead. This is your moment. Salute. But he's just a steady player out there. He gets the ball where it needs to go. He lets the game come to him, and that's what Dallas needed. Takes what the defense gives him, makes the right play, gets it where it needs to go. And he doesn't really force anything. That's good for Dallas. Now, don't let the floor vision fool you. You can get cooked. I don't know how I don't know, fade away, step back. I don't know how much the Nembhard DLC he downloaded, but buddy, watch them side by side and you'll have a good time.
All of it is the answer to
Anthony Davis at the 5. Wow, feels better. Shocker. Who would have thought? No one ever would have had an idea of that. Before you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Salute to Max Christie. Leads the league in corner threes made. With 32, shooting for 3.3% from the corners, shooting 41.1% of brother break threes. Klay Thompson has not stopped letting it fly since you moved into the bench. I knew this Dallas team looked different when they started throwing up 3 fingers and go to a 3-2 zone to junk things up, and Jason Kidd started saying, we're attacking matchups again. That's what we're doing. Forget all this flow and handoffs, buddy. Go get a bucket. So there's my quick Dallas rant.
Okay. I like the Dallas rant. I was just going to say, one, to the Cooper Flag point. It's funny thinking back to the conversation that we had about Cooper Flag in our first rookie report, where I think we both noted what the drives would look like and just in general what the inside the arc comfort was. And I know I had the specific question about what the mid-range shots were going to look like because the footwork seems solid. Are these shots going to fall? Because he's going to need that as a counter, especially as he develops as a 3-point shooter on top of that, et cetera, et cetera. So to see, to your point, great numbers drop, by the way. I want to give you flowers on that. But to kind of see that play, out has been a joy because he is being rude to folks. And there's just a level of poise that he has inside the arc that a guy at his age and with his archetype. You think about like ball handling 6'9", 6'10" wing, you head into the NBA, like, yeah, these dudes like to flash their hands. Like, you got to protect your hand. We're going to see how good this actually is. The fact that he doesn't look sped up, like independent of the actual efficiency, the fact that he doesn't look sped up is a positive to me. Because that just means as the handle gets tighter, as he gets stronger, as he learns more trick of the trade, oh, you got your hands in there, we ripping through those, big dog. Like, all that stuff's gonna come. That's gonna be better. He just has like a floor of comfort that I really appreciate. And so now you add in the finishes and the and ones and some of these turnaround jumpers and some of these step backs and some of these face-up attacks. Now it's like, oh yeah, we getting to the money now. We get into, you mentioned the clutch points, but okay, let's poke at a matchup. Now Cooper Flag can just get downhill and dictate terms. Like, this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that everyone was excited about. Heading into Summer League, heading into this rookie campaign, it's all starting to perk up. So that part has been fun. I'm glad you mentioned Ryan Nembhard. Glad you mentioned Max Christie. Actually, honestly, not going to hang here too long. The two things I want to say on the, I guess, the not so fun portion of the program here for Dallas. One, like, everything about the Derek Lively season has just made me sad. Like, please get healthy so you can hoop for real. And then the 80 at the 5 of it all. Finally, like, also, like, I'm just kind of annoyed by all of it. And I'm not even a Mavericks fan. Like, this, we have so much evidence that he's just better at the 5. And I feel like every year we have to, like, work into this. It also doesn't help that Dallas just has a roster of like 8 bigs. It's like it wasn't always going to be easy to even get to that look, which he ain't there no more, so whatever. But yeah, I'm glad that we're seeing, like you said, 13th in offensive rating during this recent stretch of games, and man, I perked up inside. Like, thank goodness they're not just easily the worst offense in basketball, because it should have never been that with the personnel they have. And also, just a general shout out to PJ Washington, who has just largely hooped all year long. So I want to give him his flowers as well. I'm glad you brought up Dallas, though. That's neat. How funny is it going to be if they actually do just make the play in?
Hey, go ahead and book Dallas and Memphis, buddy.
80 versus Zach Edey. He didn't like that one. He didn't like that one. Okay. Last thing for me, while I'm like talking about things that semi-annoy me. So Golden State.
Do we have to?
What are they?
Shout out to Gary Payton, second grade.
Shout out friend of the program, Gary Payton II, who has been hooping. Shout out to Pat Spencer, who has been hooping. Buddy Hield making shots again. That's kind of cool. Hey, Jonathan Kuminga. We ain't playing fourth quarters. Now we getting DMPs. Pods. We may not play this fourth quarter. You ain't got the DMP. We might want to roll with something else. This is just odd. Like, this is not how I envisioned the 2 timeline thing going for Golden State. Also, I should have said this at the top. A general get well soon to Steph Curry, because obviously he is just very important. But hey, man.
Nekias, I told you this was like a long-running sitcom. It's the same storyline. I would like to see a different storyline. That's what I would like to see. That's my Golden State Warriors analysis. You want something smart? No. I want this show to change.
I want to trade.
Ooh,
that's what
they look great. Ooh, they look great. Ooh, the defense. Oh, wow, Steph. Oh, no. What happened? Dang, Jonathan Kuminga and Pods aren't playing. I'm tired of it.
And like,
do something else.
And it's crazy because they are a ridiculous Tyrese Maxey block away from just having like a 3-0 East Coast road trip that they'd be coming off of. I should be like, ooh, the Warriors are finding some stuff without Stephen Curry. The defense has been pretty darn strong during this recent stretch of games. And I'm just so annoyed by, like, what's happening with the young players? What is this? When is Jonathan Kuminga going to be a Sacramento King?
I'm not sure, but I do know we do have more basketball talk around the corner. Hang with us for more Duncan spot action.
And we are back. Steve, it is time to get to the elbow. It's time for some player shoutouts. And I would like to start with a budding star in Atlanta. We're spinning the block on Jalen Johnson. Do you know what that brother is doing? Have you seen what he's been doing as of late? First on the year, 23 points a game, 10.5 boards, nearly 8 assists, nearly 2 steals per game, 58% on twos, very good. 40% from three on 4 attempts, solid. 81% from the line. He's getting to the line a lot more as of late. His last 5 games, Steve, he's averaging 30, 14, and 11. He's coming off of back-to-back triple doubles, 21, 18, and 16 against the Denver Nuggets, 30, 12, and 12 against the Washington Wizards. And like just watching him operate, after misses, he'll grab a board, he'll push, early drag screen. Now you are coming with me. You're not going to have fun. And like the fun quirk with Jalen Johnson that stresses me out a little bit, honestly, watching Hawks games, but overall lands on fun for me. Like Tyrese Halliburton has like the jump passes. He has like the delayed late passes where he starts his gather, he's up in the air for a little bit, and like right before his foot hits the floor. And sometimes when it does hit the floor, they just don't call it. But either way, he gets towards the very end of the leap, and it's here's a laydown pass. Here's a kick to the corner. Here's a kick to the wing. Because he's already 6'9", 6'10", like he just has that vantage point where he can just find these kind of passing windows. And because he's passing so late, you really can't time it out either. And so like the fact that he's been able to slip in more of those in addition to the finishes for him have been a lot of fun. And also, very quietly, Steve, the mid-range shot making from Jalen Johnson during this stretch. You zoom out for the year, career high volume and efficiency in shots between 10 and 16 feet. But like some of the turnarounds, which again, you kind of layer those shots with, this may just be a jump pass. You just don't know it yet. If you contest this well enough, I can throw this somewhere else. He's just been really, really, really good. At least offensively. Defensively, I have some possessions where I'm like, hey, big dog, I need you to rotate, please. But shout out to Jalen Johnson. Easy all-star in Atlanta.
Well, very quickly, 21 points, 18 rebounds, 16 assists. That stat line, that's Jokic, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Guy Rogers territory. But I have a question.
What's up?
Since 1997, 1998, 5 players have recorded a triple-double in the first half. Can you name them?
Ooh, in the first half. Okay. So Nikola Jokic, Shirley's one.
Yes, he's done it twice.
Okay. Russell Westbrook?
Yes, he's done it twice.
Okay. This is where it's going to get funny. Who else has done it? Has Luka Doncic done it?
Yes.
Cool.
Hot streak.
Well, this is where the streak ends, I'd imagine.
Stay confident.
LeBron James?
No.
Darn. James Harden?
No.
Darn. See, I told you. I know myself. Let's see. First half triple doubles. No, I don't think Giannis has had a first half triple double.
Correct. He is not.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at it. This feels like a sub 30-minute type beat, but not first half. Has Cade Cunningham done it?
No.
Okay. First half triple double. You know what? I'm gonna tap. I got
the last 2 were DeMontis Sabonis and Jalen Johnson.
That stinks. I thought too hard. I was just talking about Jalen Johnson. That's crazy. Well,
I thought that would give you one.
Yeah, that's you know.
Well, while you ponder that, let's talk about Jamal Murray and the buckets that he's getting. The last 10 games for Jamal Murray, 27.4 points, 55% from the field, 54.5 from 3, and 7.6 assists. He is the 3rd player in NBA history with multiple road games in their career with 50 or more points while shooting 75% or better from the field. That list is Wilt Chamberlain, who did it 3 times, Michael Jordan twice, and Jamal Murray twice. And so when you get in that kind of list, I give you a quick salute. So there's mine. I'm done with players, so the floor is yours.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well then I'll kind of pose this as a question. This is more player that makes me think than like player shout specifically, though there have been positive elements to the season. Steve, how have you felt about the Alvin Thompson season?
Fine.
Okay.
I don't have any beef. I'm not Rockets Twitter right now. He can't be a point guard. But whatever, man. Let him play. Plays defense. He's good. He gets downhill. The season. Let the season be the season.
But they got title aspirations, Steve. You gotta expedite.
Yeah, and if you aspire to win a title, you need that guy to play well.
It's pretty true. That's pretty true. Like I've landed on ultimately it's been a good season for Alvin Thompson. Like as you already referenced, the defense remains incredibly good. And that's always going to be the thing that pops for me first because of the way that he mirrors guys in space and navigates screens, etc. So like that part's still been good. The offense has been a work in progress. Naturally, you are going to keep eyes on what the jumper development's going to be like, how many threes he's going to make, how many pull-ups he's going to make, what are the floaters going to look like, etc. The thing that I looked up, because he's converting 52% of his twos, which is like fine-ish for a perimeter player, but that is well below where he's been previously. He is converting 40.9% of his non-dunk twos this year. That was about 49% last year. And it was around 46% in that first round series against Golden State. But like increased usage, he's trying to find more of himself. So again, you deal with that exploration, because ultimately, if he does take a leap there, he can initiate more. You can use him in different ways, because you already know like the cutting is going to be there, the dunker spot usage is going to be there, the transition attacks are going to be there. That's baked in. What is he going to do in the half court? That is very much a playoff question. That's why you take these regular season reps to let him figure out what it's going to be. So far this year hasn't been the most efficient stretch for him. It's more like when he's taking some of these floaters and when he's taking some of these contested looks at the rim, more than like the actual efficiency of them. But again, that is just something that he's going to have to work through. So I wanted to kind of gauge the temperature with you with Amin. It's been interesting to track.
I think it's a part of growth. Like, it's not always going to look pretty. It's not always going to be exactly what you want. You got to take the flashes and you got to take the pain. I mean, how much of this is I'm taking different types of shots, or I'm looking to be more aggressive on these drives. I'm a little more I'm not as selective. And when it works, you're going to enjoy it. When it's a struggle, hey, you got to take the bumps to get to the good stuff. That's what I always say.
Okay, that's good. Figured I'd get your thoughts there. Last two from me before we get into free throws. Hello, Noah Clowney. Zoom out for the year. Career high 13.3 points per game for your Brooklyn Nets. 54% on twos, 36% on threes, 82% from the line, 4 boards, 2 assists. About a stock and a half per game. Last 4 games for Noah Clowney. 19 points a game, Steve. 50% on twos. You want that to be higher. 50% on threes. Not sustainable, but shooting the ball well. We take that. And for me, watching him grow offensively, watching him grow as a foul drawer has been a very funny bit. Shout out to Eric Slater, who actually directly asked him about this a few days ago. But like, you can tell that some teams come in against the Brooklyn Nets and it's like, oh, well, it's the Nets, we're going to win. So like, there's part of that. But like with Noah Clowney in particular, they see like lanky 4 and it's just like, oh, whatever. You have to watch the first Noah Clowney drive of every Nets game. Because it's clear, it's like, oh, wait, I did not know that he could like handle like this. Also, because he's so lanky, I did not know that he was going to move me with his shoulder like this. This is kind of odd. I'm ready for the next one, but what is this? The Noah Clowney drives have been an absolute treat as of late. So I just wanted to make sure, I just wanted to shout out what he's been doing. Talked about Nick Claxton a little bit earlier in the year. He's continuing to play well. I saw you tweet about Danny Wolf, Steve. I see you're peeping the Nets. What's happening over there? Interesting things are happening in Brooklyn right now. But I want to shout out Noah Clowney specifically. Were you about to jump in on Mr. Clowney?
I was just going to say, it was very funny. I remember the Utah game. It was like the scouting report didn't get updated on Noah Clowney because he was on the perimeter, and it's like, all right, cool. And then he nailed the 3. And then the next time I was like, all right, cool. We got to be up on you. He drove, and I was like, oh, yeah, you guys got to lock in on that scouting report. Come on, coaches, update it. That guy's getting downhill.
Yeah, like he's just kind of doing that. So I want to shout out Noah Clowney. And then finally, quick hat tip. I know the constraints that I have here. I know where I am. I know my environment. I would just quickly say, Tijon Salon, I do see you. You are making shots. You are making winning basketball plays. That is all I'm going to say. Just know that I see you. Welcome back to the Hornets rotation. Keep making winning plays. We're going to feel a lot better about this moving forward. That's all I got. Steve, are you ready for free throws?
Do you have any free throws, man? Come on.
I sure do. Do. Let's start hot. Hey, Steve, do you think that he should be allowed to trade Terry Rozier?
I don't think that that's going to be a thing, but maybe we should get that pick back.
It's getting kind of hazy there. Like, something's got to be done. Okay. On a more serious note, where are you at on the Bam Adebayo Khalil Ware pairing?
Decent. I think it's something that they should be able to play, but not necessarily be their base.
Okay, fair enough. Quickly on that front, 123 minutes with those two on the floor together so far, a minus 11.2 net rating. The Heat have won their minutes with Khalil Ware on the floor without Bam. They have blitz teams in their minutes with Bam on the floor without Khalil Ware. It is a combination that I would like to see work, particularly defensively. The offense has just been kind of rickety. And I guess when you are thinking about their skill sets, in addition to, hey, we're going to be the lowest volume like pick and roll team in the league on top of this, it does just kind of put whoever isn't involved in a weird spot. So we'll see. But if they aren't able to figure it out, I do wonder when some of the trade stuff kind of perks up in light of some of the names that may be available. I want to get your thoughts there.
Okay.
Beyond that, actually, very quickly, what are you most excited about for Heat Magic?
Offense.
Okay.
Because that's an offensive matchup now.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. But all right. Austin Reeves or Jaylen Brown this year?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm about to make somebody mad. Give me Jaylen Brown.
Okay, fair enough. Lauri Markkanen or Michael Porter Jr. this year?
Lauri Markkanen.
Okay. Jalen Johnson or Julius Randle?
Julius Randle.
Okay. Trey Murphy III or Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks.
Okay. Is anyone having a more under the radar good season than Keontae George?
Yes.
Who?
One of them Spencers.
That does not count. Shout out to Cam and also Pat, but that does not count. That is unbelievable. Final one for me. Well, actually, final two. One, what are you most excited about for Knicks Raptors?
Jalen Brunson.
Okay, fair enough. All of the revenge swirling around that matchup should be a good time. More unnecessary, Steve. The Desmond Bane ball throw at OG Anunoby or the Rudy Gobert foul on Mark Williams?
That Desmond Bane ball throw was egregious, and that's one way to lose $35K. Because why did you do that? There's no need to do any of that. You didn't have to do a single bit of that. Like, he saved the ball and took steps to launch the ball at OG. That didn't have to happen. None of that had to happen. You could have just taken the ball the other way. OG's reaction the entire time, and I'm glad they laughed about it afterward, but it's like, hey, man, what was that?
Yeah, like,
no, we're good. What was that? Hey, why did you do that?
So, Steve,
hey, man.
So I was alerted to this late, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to watch this game back anyway. I want to see, like, maybe if you see a replay or, like, when I'm watching it back and I can, like, slow-mo it and stuff, like, maybe he, like, stumbled and I just missed it in real time when we got to... No. That brother gathered the ball, looked at OG. He had, who was it? It might have been Anthony Black to his right, who was, like, inbound 2 feet away from him. So even if you thought that you had to save the ball, you could just toss it directly to a teammate right beside you. You're just like, nah, let me... like, hold on, bro. That's kind of crazy. But, okay. Actual last one for me, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put ice in your cereal?
What did you just say to me?
That was my reaction, too. Shout out to Flage, who...
Ice, that's water. No thanks.
Hey,
you know what?
One of the most interesting things I have ever seen. And that is saying something for someone that has been online as long as I have. But she has I want to say it's a TikTok, but either way. Many have asked how she eats cereal, and it is bowl, ice, then milk. We pour cereal onto a separate, like a plate or a different bowl. It's a lot. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna forego my free throws. Put this episode on ice. What do you mean?
That threw you off. Oh no, that one.
Man, get us out of here, man.
That one got me. Thank you for listening to and or watching this episode of The Dunker Spot. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are on Apple, Spotify, RIP Google, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us. Also, coming on December 22nd, we have an NBA-specific YouTube channel coming your way. You can find us, KOC Show, The Big Number, and more. So tap in with us. Be ready to subscribe there. You can catch me on socials at Nekias NBA. You can catch Steve on socials at SteveJones20. And with that, we will catch y'all later in the week.